Hi guys, and welcome to lesson 9 on your unit of work on organisation. And this lesson covers the heart and the circulatory system, and specifically we'll be looking at the main structure of the heart and how it links to different blood vessels from what we touched on in lesson 8. So to start with, just spend the next 5 minutes or so pausing your video, having a look at the knowledge check questions and see how many you can answer. Right, you should have unpaused your video, so if we go through the answers nice and quickly. State the function of white blood cells. They are to fight off pathogens. State what is needed in our diet to make hemoglobin. Iron. What do we call blood containing oxygen? We call it oxygenated. State which blood vessels mainly carry deoxygenated blood. Those are the veins. State the name of the liquid part of the blood. That's the plasma, the yellow straw-like liquid that we spoke about last lesson. State the name of the part of the blood that destroys microbes. White blood cells. State the name of the smallest blood vessels. These are the capillaries, 1 cell thick. They transfer substances from the blood to cells and tissues and vice versa, such as oxygen, glucose, carbon dioxide, water. It's just an adaptation of these small blood vessels. They are 1 cell thick. Give a really short diffusion distance. So, have a little look now on the next page. Now, identify the basic structures of the heart, describe the circulation of the blood through the heart. So, first things first, pause your video, have a look at the following YouTube link in your resources or in the comments from the comment section below, and just make some of your own notes on that. Once you've done that, come back to this video and we will pick up where we've left off. Right, hopefully you've looked at that first video clip. So the next thing I'd like us to do is just go through some of this information here. Now, the function of the heart is to pump deoxygenated blood from the body to the lungs. Deoxygenated blood is blood that contains no oxygen. Why is it going to the lungs? To pick up oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. We call that process gas exchange. The heart then has to pump oxygenated blood around the whole body. The heart therefore acts as a double pump. It is the structure of the heart that enables this to happen. So the heart then has to pump oxygenated blood around the whole body. So oxygenated blood returns from the lungs and then goes around the whole body. Now, therefore acts as a double pump. The reason why it is a double pump, or the heart is referred to as a double circulatory system, is because blood passes through the heart. Blood passes via the heart twice for every circuit, every time it goes around the body. Okay, so the structure of our heart is a bit like so. So you've got a diagram here, and we'll just see if we can zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit bigger and go over it. So, key parts here. The aorta. The aorta is the largest blood vessel, and it carries oxygenated blood to the body. Carries oxygenated blood to the body. Now, pulmonary artery, we've said the arteries primarily carry oxygenated blood, except for this one, because it's taking blood away from the body, but it's carrying deoxygenated blood to the lungs to be reoxygenated. The pulmonary vein, again, these primarily carry deoxygenated blood, except for this one, because it's bringing back blood to the heart. It brings oxygenated blood from the lungs. So blood goes via the pulmonary artery up to the lungs, gets some more oxygen, and then comes back down and back in via the pulmonary vein. Now you've got the left and the right atrium and the left and the right ventricle, which are the two sides of the heart. The vena cava is the primary vein. And it brings deoxygenated blood back from the body. Now, right ventricle and left ventricle are the bottom chambers of the heart. The right ventricle, its job is to pump blood to the lungs, because both of these contract and squeeze blood up and out of the aorta and the pulmonary artery, whereas the left ventricle pumps blood to the body. Now you've got to bear in mind as well, the left ventricle, the wall of it, is thicker and more muscular because it has to pump the blood further. Because if you think about the physical location of the lungs, they are close to the heart, whereas if you're trying to get blood to your toes, your brain, it's got to go through more blood vessels and get further away, and therefore be required to be pushed at a higher pressure. Now, also bear in mind, kind of in the right atrium as well, there are what we call pacemaker cells. And these create electrical impulses that regularly move through the heart and through the heart, and they control the heartbeat. So pacemaker cells create electrical impulses, and as we've said, what they do is control the heartbeat. Control the heartbeat. Right, good. So let's zoom that out a bit more. So that's your structure of the heart. Now, a quick checkpoint question, just to remind you of content from last lesson. Pause the video now and have a go at this 6-mark question. Explain ways from last lesson in which arteries, veins, and capillaries are adapted to their function. So adapted, how does their structure support their function? 6 marks. So you're thinking you probably want 2 for each. So pause the video and have a go at this question now for me then, please. Right. Now, if you want to pause the video, let's go through some marks. Arteries. 2 structures and their functions. They've got thick walls, and their walls are also elastic and muscular. Now, why are these important? So that they can both pump blood at high pressure. Pump blood at high pressure. The veins. What do the veins have that the arteries don't? They have valves, and they have very thin walls, which means they have a large lumen. Now, what's the job of the valves? They stop backflow. And what's the job of having thin walls? So we can have more blood traveling back to the heart quicker. And then the capillaries. They are 1 cell thick. Why are they 1 cell thick? Provide a short diffusion distance for exchange between cells and the blood. Good. So see how many of those marks you managed to get in your own answer. Once you've done that, turn on to the next page. Now, we've had a little discussion about this already. The heart is a double pump. So the heart is a double pump, or is part of the double circulatory system. Why? Because for every circuit of blood around the body, the blood has to pass through the heart twice. Right. If we were to look at this as a diagram, so if we're going to label it up, this would be our lungs. This would be our body organs. This would be our pulmonary artery. This would be our pulmonary vein. This would be our aorta, and this would be our vena cava. This would be our vena cava, because this is carrying deoxygenated blood to the lungs. This is carrying oxygenated blood to the heart. This is carrying oxygenated blood to the body, and this is carrying deoxygenated blood to the heart. And so the blood has to go through both of these circuits every time it moves through the body. Right. On the next page, there is unfortunately an activity about doing a heart dissection that if you're in class you would do, but my suggestion would be see if you can go and research and have a look yourself for any heart dissections on the internet and just have a look at the physical processes involved. And when you are back in school, we'll have a go at doing this. Right. The last thing I'd like you to do now, and this is a bit more of an independent activity, we've got to see how many of these structures we can remember. So what I would like you to do now is pause the video, go back over your notes, and I want you to have 4 goes at labelling the different parts of the heart, okay? From memory, and then obviously green pen it and check it and correct it where you've got it wrong. But see through, if you can do it through this repetition, and I'm not going to go over it here because you've got the notes yourself, you can look back yourself in a minute, but how many of these can you do from memory? So remember, you're going to need to label the aorta, the vena cava, the pulmonary vein and artery. Then you need to label the left and right ventricles and atrium. Atrium is singular, atria is plural. Okay, so that's your next task. Pause the video and have a go at that yourself in your own notes. And then once you've done that, turn on to the last page, go through some application questions to finish. So have a look at the application questions, have a look at your notes, any other additional resources, pause the video and then go through these yourself to finish, and then we will go over the answers and call it a day. Right, you should have paused the video and then unpaused it once you've had a go. So let's go through these ourselves. The function of white blood cells: fight off pathogens. What is needed in our diet to make hemoglobin? Iron. What do we call blood containing oxygen? Oxygenated. Which blood vessels mainly carry deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary vein? How many times does the blood visit the heart during one circuit? Twice. It's a double pump. Suggest where blood leaving the right side of the heart is going. Now the right side contains deoxygenated blood, so it's going to the lungs. What's the name of the lower heart chamber? These are called the ventricles. Blood vessel types: arteries, veins, capillaries. Explain why the blood from an artery is bright red in colour, but the blood from a vein is dark red in colour. It's a change in hemoglobin. Explain why the heart is called a double pump. Because remember, the blood has to go through it twice, 2 circuits. It has to go through it twice. It goes around the body twice. It has to be pumped twice. Suggest what happens to the blood pressure as the blood moves further away from the heart. Is it going to get faster, or is it going to get higher, or is it going to get lower? If it's high at the start of the heart and it gets further away, blood pressure will decrease. And then remember, the left ventricle wall is thicker than the right because it's pumping blood down the aorta to the body, so the blood has further to go. Because the blood goes further, therefore it needs to be pumped at a higher pressure. And you can need more muscle or less muscle to do that. You need more muscle tissue in the wall of the heart, in the ventricles, to do that. Good. Well done, ladies and gents. So we've gone through lesson 9, the basics of the structure of the heart and how it links to blood vessels.